All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is coming directly from Bowman, South Carolina, where Meow Shroom farms. This is for the people that have picked up our 3-pound DIY do-it-at-home kits. This is your bag. I'm gonna do basically an unboxing and walk you through the entire process to get from this to this, which I actually just made today with the date 4/12 on it, so you can see what the finished product is going to look like. All right, and then after you let it colonize, and this is dated April 5th, today is April the 12th, you're gonna get something like this. And this one is still not ready yet, as it does have some brown still showing on the bottom. So once it's completely white on the bottom, then it'll be ready to send to fruiting, and that will be a separate video when this actual block that I made today, just a few minutes ago, gets to that point. So everything is in your bag that you're going to need, except for a couple of things. You're going to need a pair of scissors, maybe a plastic spoon, or something that you can wash up really well because you're gonna be mixing. And you're gonna need a measuring cup and some water, okay? So I've already pre-measured, but what do we have in the bag, okay? So you're gonna have a spray bottle, and this is going to be for fruiting, so you don't need that yet. You're going to have the unicorn grow bag, which is this. You're gonna have the substrate formula, which is what the mushrooms grow on, and it's in a nice big Ziploc bag, and you're actually going to use that. You're going to have a little baggie with lime, because we do a cold pasteurization process because we're not cooking this sub. This raises the alkaline pH in the bag and keeps contamination away. You're gonna also get a nice bag of colonized spawn. This is Blue Oyster. And you're going to get a rubber band that goes on the top of the bag. Okay, so you will need the scissors. I have already pre-mixed, I've already pre-dumped the 3 1/2 cups of tap water. Can be cold, can be a little warm if you want it, doesn't matter. Better for it not to be warm because it's going to agitate the spawn when you add it to the bag. I also have these two things right here. One's just a coffee can and one's a baby wipes thing, because I like to use it to set the bag in while I'm loading the bag, and it kind of holds it in place, as you'll see. I also have a pot, which does make it a little bit easier. All right. So first things first, what you're going to do is you're going to have your water, your 3 1/2 cups of water. You're going to very carefully open up your bag of lime. Okay. You want to hold it away from your face because it might like poof a little bit. It is hydrated lime, and you're going to dump the entire contents of the bag into that. I always keep paper towels out, and then you're just going to give that a gentle little stir so that the lime mixes with the water. I use old stuff because the lime, you know, it has a tendency to stay. Okay, so you're going to want to mix that up all in the water and set your spoon aside. Okay, so next thing is this. I just have a regular pot. This has a rubber band around it. You're gonna take that off. It's a big old bag, okay? And kind of open it up a little bit and give it some air, okay? Give it a little shake, mix it up a little bit, very gently, okay? This is your sawdust pellets and also a secret ingredient. And what I do is I just stick the bag inside of the pot to give it some form, okay? Next thing is you're just going to dump your lime and water into the bag, okay? You can seal it up if you want to. this is what it's gonna look like. It's gonna look a little soupy, all right? So you wanna kinda like mix it up so that that lime gets in everything. Give it a little, and it literally starts absorbing the water almost immediately. Okay? So I have this bag closed, and what you want to do is you're just going to kind of knead the bag so that the water gets evenly distributed in your pellets. And the other secret ingredients, which eventually and currently the secret ingredient that you cannot find anywhere else on the internet is available on our Etsy store. If you want to continue this journey at home on your own, which I highly encourage, because growing your own food always tastes better than if you buy it from somewhere else. So this takes a minute. You will have stuff sticking to the bag, that's fine. Okay, it's going to be a little bit more wet on the bottom, so what I do is I press some of the air out with the zipper open, and then I will roll it over so that the water will actually move from the bottom of the bag to the rest of it, and then again gently knead it so that all the little pockets and everything are getting some of that much needed water. Now, really this needs to sit and just kind of like marinate and soak up all the water. See how I've kind of got it like in a little bowl. Roll it over like this. And then you can kind of turn it as it goes so that it soaks up the water. So you're gonna leave this to sit and soak it up so that all of the fuel pellets, hardwood fuel pellets, this is a blend, are going to soak up the water, and they're basically gonna break down, okay? So, speeding up the process, you kind of need the bag. You're gonna feel like little hard chunks in there, and then you can kind of start agitating it, moving it around. You're actually going to use this bag, okay? So it does take a minute. You will see that it's more wet on the bottom because water always goes to the bottom. But you do want to get anything that looks dry or chunky. Yes, see it's starting already to kind of be more, it's not muddy in there, okay? This is literally just the right amount of water to bring this substrate media to what we call field capacity in this industry, all right? So you may have a couple of little pellets that don't dissolve, and they might stick to the top, and you just kind of drop them down in there. Might need to open the bag, get some air. All right, and just keep kneading. If you feel froggy, then you can get you out like a wooden spoon that from the dollar store that you're only going to use for this because it does have lime in the water. And if you want to open up the bag, you can stir it. But honestly, this is going to get you where you need to be, and it's going to be a lot simpler. So if you do get anything coagulating in the little corners, work it out. Okay, so this is the longest part of the process right here, is mixing up the substrate. Now you're going to see a lot of stuff online about cooking the substrate and pasteurizing it and autoclaving it and all of these things. This is a cold pasteurization process. I've made hundreds and hundreds of blocks using this method, and by raising the pH to a more alkaline level, it is going to protect your growth. Okay? And so, okay. Once you have, you're going to have to open it up, take a look at it. Looks pretty good. All right, and lumps and just kind of bust them up with your hands. So I'm just kind of like kneading bread a little bit, but be gentle so you don't bust the bag. I'm being a little rough with it because I've done it a few times and I know my little itty bitty hoof strength. My cameraman is shaking his head at me. No. Gotta be fun or it's not gonna be fun. Okay. It's got a big old bag. So it looks like dirt now. Looks like soil. So this is called substrate. Okay. All right. And I'm gonna give it one more turn just to make sure we don't have any soy sticking in weird parts or it's more wet on one side than it is the other. Okay. Once you got it all mixed up, and you'll feel a whole bunch of knobby little lumps in there, you're gonna open the bag, okay? And at this point, you're going to take your little Ziploc bag of, looks like it's little oats that's been colonized. This is mycelium, it's all over them. They're ready to go. This is blue oyster spawn. And you're gonna add this a little bit at a time. Just give it a little shake, okay? And there's some in, you can see it in the bag. Close the bag back up, give it a little toss. With some air in it so it don't move around. And then open the bag back up, give it another little shake. And you're just gonna fluff it around again. Because you wanna make sure it's evenly distributed. And then you can add the last of it. Get it all, because every little thing counts. And you can see it on there. And again, you're gonna distribute it just like that, okay? And there you go, okay? Next thing is we're gonna take our scissors and we're going to load this into your grow bag, okay? So you're gonna open this grow bag, and by the way, you know, wash your hands, warm soapy water before you start with any of this. Make sure you have a clean surface. If you have some alcohol, wipe down your surface. Contamination is everywhere. If you possibly can, turn off the HVAC unit in your house so you don't have mold spores that are floating around everywhere in the house all the time. Clean clothes. You can use like this. This works really good for me. You can also put it in a little coffee can. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to want to fold over about 2 inches of the top of this grow bag. That's a little tricky, y'all. Okay, because I want it to stand up and make it easy for me to dump the substrate in there. So, all right. Okay, if you got someone at home, they can hold the bag open for you. Okay, so if you're working as a team, doing it together, your bestie, or your kids, or your partner, significant other, whatever that may be. Okay, so while this bag is closed, you want to take a little bit of air out, not much, just make sure it's all sealed up. And then on one of these little corner nipples, I call it a nipple, I don't know, you're going to cut about 1 inch from the very corner. Okay, and what this is going to do is this is going to create basically a funnel. All right, and I'm gonna try to do this without making a huge mess, but when you're making a video, everything always goes wrong, so it is what it is. All right, it's going to be a little funky at first, but once you kind of have to squeeze it to get it to come out, then it'll start coming. Better for it to not dump completely all at one time. You can always go back and make the hole bigger if you need to. All right. make a mess. So carefully hold that, put the hole over the bag, and let it flow. There we go. Okay. And start filling up that bag. Okay, and I still have some of my other hand over here, and I'm going to let it fall. It's important to have some air in the bag, otherwise it creates suction and it won't come out. All right, I want everything out of here. I'm going to carefully rattle this bag so that it comes out. All right, a little bit over here. A little bit over here. You're not going to get everything out of this bag because it's stuck, it's wet in there. Okay, so here's your bag, and you're going to throw that away. All right, so we got a little bit of a mess. What do you do? You're going to take this up out of here. All right, and you want to pay attention to these edges. These are called gussets. You want to kind of hold it by the top and just give it a little tap so that it's nice and firm, like a little brick, not too compact, because this is a wood-loving mushroom. They like hardwoods, and a hardwood is a tree or a tree stump. Okay, so you're going to unfold the bag, the top. You're going to have your rubber band. Okay, on the back side of the bag, you're going to just kind of lay your hand over and just give it a nice little, gentle little pat. Okay? All right, if there's substrate everywhere on the bag, it's no big deal. And you're going to tuck these little gussets in like I've done here and kind of have finger muscle memory from doing so many of these. Okay? So you've got a little air in the bag. All right, the oyster mushrooms, they like air. At the very top, what I do is like a little fan fold, kind of bunch it together above the filter patch, and then kind of give it a little twist, and then you're going to take your rubber band and as tightly as you can, wrap it around the top of the bag. All right. All right. And there you go. All right. So at this point, you have your bag that you got. Okay. This needs to colonize. So it's going to look like this. In a couple of days, you're going to start seeing little white spots that look like little freckles or stars in the night, I like to call them. Don't touch the bag. Don't poke it. It's going to have some humidity in it. It's going to sweat. Don't handle it. Don't play with it. The mycelium needs to run. This bag is going to heat up as the mycelium from that spawn starts running throughout the substrate. Okay? And you're going to get some condensation from the moisture in it. And this patch right here is made so that any CO2 that builds up in it, because it does produce CO2, will actually trickle out of the filter patch. So you want to keep the filter patch unobstructed and in an upright position. You don't want to be folding it down like this at this point. Okay? So you want to leave this undisturbed from anywhere from 10 to 14 days. What you're looking for, again, is that you're going to start seeing, you can see some yellow stuff in here. This is called metabolites. That's no big deal. That's the mycelium winning over any kind of contamination or fighting with the lime or anything that's in the hardwood. You're going to see primordia forming on the top of the bag. Okay? You're going to be tempted to poke it and touch it and, oh my gosh, is that water? Whatever. Just leave it on. Okay? But what you're looking for, again, is to not see brown on the bottom of the bag. You can see where the mycelium is actually crawling down there, and once it is totally white on the bottom of the bag, doesn't matter how white it is up here, it is ready for fruiting, and that will be the next video. So what you do now is you grab it by the top and you put it back in the bag that you purchased it in, just like this. Stick it in a warm, dark place, anywhere from 70 to 78 degrees, usually an interior closet inside of the house. Inside of the house here in the southeast is going to do the trick. They usually stay somewhere between 68 and 74 degrees if it's interior. But you can honestly, it can handle a little bit of maybe some like light in the distance, but it really just needs to be dark, okay? And that's it. And then you will save this for when it gets to this point, after it's completely colonized, and you will be fruiting. Check you on the next video.